Hi all and welcome back to my channel. Today I know I'm a little bit late to the game, but I'm doing a 2023 review, looking back on my year 2023, because in the future I want to watch this and see what I did. I don't know why I'm so nervous. I'm usually not nervous when I film videos because it's just me here. I think I'm nervous because I want to get the timeline exactly right and I don't want to forget anything, which is so silly because who cares if I get one thing wrong. So I'm sitting here with some notes, with my calendar open on my computer, but what I have thought is that I will probably do this by going through my pictures, because I realized that looking at the pictures is bringing back most of my memories. So I just realized that most things have happened for me in the second part of the year. So the first 6 months of my year is probably going to be quite quick, and then I'll talk a bit more about the second half. The first bit of the year started with us, me and my partner, finishing looking after a rabbit, because that's what we did Christmas and New Year, and then just the first few days of the New Year, and then I went back to work. Then in February I had some time off and we looked after the cat. I was gonna say our cat, it's not our cat. We looked after the lovely cat Eris, who we have looked after a few times now. He's really lovely. I remember that month being really nice and cozy, and we really enjoyed looking after Eris, but I also remember that month being just a tiny bit boring. And I realized that next time when I have a break from work, I want to do more, I want to see more, I want to get out. I just felt like we didn't do enough. Of course, you don't always have to do a lot, but that's something I realized for myself that month. And also, that was the month we started looking at properties. Yes! Oh wow, okay. Yes, we started looking at properties. We still haven't bought, but this was the beginning of our journey, checking out different areas, looking at properties, just getting a feel for the market and checking out what it is we want. I think the reason I sometimes feel like I could do more is because I've always been like that. Like, I can get a lot of things done in a very short period of time. I think it's because of my mom. Certainly she's someone who can get a lot done in a very short span of time. Yeah, so that month, obviously very cold, winter in the UK, and then not really a lot happened between that and the summer. Looking at my pictures, I don't have many pictures between winter and when it started to get warmer. I know from looking at my calendar that it was basically a mix between being at work, having some time off, being at work. But let's have a quick look so that I don't forget anything. Oh, I did try out 2 choirs during winter. I tried one in February and one in March, and I'll talk about choir a bit later. Now I'm going to speak to our house sit in July. We went to the Southampton area and we looked after a beautiful cat and a beautiful dog, and we completely fell in love with them. I know this sounds kind of cheesy. The area we were in was really nice, but the weather wasn't very good. But this house sit, we will always remember this because the cat and the dog were so funny, so hilarious, and so lovable. The dog, she was rescued and she just had the most lovely soul. She was just so sweet. Both of them warmed up to us really quickly, and it was such a sweet little time over there that we had with them. When we were there, we also visited Winchester, which I had no idea is such a beautiful town. No one had mentioned it to me before, but it's definitely worth the visit. It was really nice. We also had dinner at a pub that was built, well, I'm not good at history, but many years ago. When we were there, I was reading In Order to Live by Yeonmi Park, and I remember that I could not put the book down, and I would even read the book to my partner. It's such an incredible story. It's a true story, and if you haven't read it, you should definitely read it. I then went to Germany. I had a haircut. I had some relaxing time. Came back to the UK. Went back to work. I'm just looking at those beautiful pictures with the beautiful flowers that one of my really good friends from Germany gave me. So I hadn't seen this particular friend from Germany in ages, and she came to London for just a few days. She came over for dinner and she brought me the most beautiful flowers. We just had the most lovely catch up. So this is one of my friends that I met at university, and she's the only friend I've kept from university. And she's one of those friends, I don't know if you can relate, but she's one of those friends, we don't regularly talk, we don't regularly see each other, but we know regardless in our hearts that we're friends. It was just so heartwarming and so lovely. So life carried on, and I see here I have a lot of pictures about the book that I was reading. So I'm going to show the book here. I've been trying to get more into finance over time, and this is one of the books that actually helped me understand things more, because some books that are called a beginner's guide in the finance world, and I'm actually speaking about one book in particular which I will put here as well, Money Master the Game by Tony Robbins. I saw Tony in an interview when the book came out, and he said it's a beginner's book, but the reality is I didn't feel that it was a beginner's book because I just couldn't understand it. It was just too difficult. Also, the other thing is that unlike with other topics like relationships, or can't think of anything else right now, but a lot of topics, it doesn't matter where you get the information, whether it's in the US, Australia, UK, but when it comes to finance, you should really get a book or get the information where you are. And for example, Tony's book was applied to the American market, so reading that wouldn't even have helped me that much because it wasn't applied to the UK market. So this author, book is here, he originally published his book in the US, but then he wrote a version just for the UK market. So then I read that version, and that's a true beginner's book. Later on, we did another house sit with 3 cats that I've known for quite a long time now. I'm gonna show you some pictures. They're such cuties and I really love them. And then we're in September now. So now it's important I mentioned, this is when I joined the choir that I am still with to this day. I originally planned to just do 1 term with them, but then I decided to carry on. So the choir. So as I mentioned before, tried 2 choirs. One I wasn't too fond of. The other one I was fond of, or I am fond of. It's a pop choir, and I joined them in September, and this was because I've been thinking about doing something outside of work. I mean, tell me in the comments if you can relate to this. Ever since I'm in the working world, it seems so much harder to make space and time for a hobby, and particularly in my line of work, because I work lots of different shifts, and I often work weekends and I often work evenings, and anyway, it's not easy, but I thought I need to find a way to make this happen, because it's important to do something for yourself, and it's important to socialize other than on social media, to see people face to face. And anyway, it's had such a positive impact on me, the singing for so many reasons. A, it's just fun, but B, it's just so uplifting. And a benefit that I hadn't even thought about is that when I go to choir and when I practice the songs outside of choir, I think about the songs, or I practice the songs either in my mind or I sing them out loud. And during those times, I cannot worry about anything else because the brain can only hold one thought at a time. So when I'm singing, I can't be worried about other things. As I'm a woman, and a woman's brain never shuts off, you think about this and you think about that. But when you give your brain a task like sing a song, then this is what the brain focuses on. And I realized that singing wasn't just the once a week fun thing to go to. It was also a real benefit to my emotional well-being. Particularly October was such an amazing month last year for me because I was at choir. I worked with different clients that month and I had quite a bit more free time, but I was still working. One thing about that worried me, and that still sometimes worries me, is the house buying situation, because it feels so unfair that depending on your salary, but I'm just speaking for myself now, that in the past it was more like you needed to save 3 yearly salaries and then you were able to buy a property, and now you need to save 15 to 18 annual salaries to be able to buy a property. The generations that were born before me, if they bought property years ago, they had such a huge gain from that. They said to me, yeah, that's how they made most of their money in their life. Not from their actual job, but from buying and selling properties over time. Or even, well, that's what they did, but even if you just bought one property and you just held on to it, like you would hold on to shares and stocks. It makes me so sad that our generation just hasn't got the same opportunity, because we simply, unless we come from a wealthy background or we are lucky in any shape or form, and I don't mean to say that I'm not lucky, I am actually incredibly lucky. I'm incredibly lucky to live in the Western world. I'm incredibly lucky with the opportunities that I do have, but it makes me so sad that rent is incredibly high. So if you rent, you can't save for a house or flat. Anyway, it's really, really upsetting me. It's really upsetting me. So anyway, carry on from that. October was a very happy month for me because I was at choir. My brother came to visit me. Really good friends from Germany came to visit me. I went to a TEDx evening about environmental issues and what we can do for the environment and how we can save this planet, and that was a really amazing evening. My brother and I went to the Tower of London. I want to say quickly, if you are interested in going to see the Tower of London, take it from somebody who has not that much interest in history. That's the reason I never went to the Tower of London before. But I can tell you, you don't have to have a massive interest in history. It's just such a beautiful building. But what I will say is, don't go in winter, because most of it is actually outdoors. I didn't realize this, so we went in October and it was okay. But don't go when it rains, and yeah, if you don't want to freeze, don't go in winter. Definitely worth seeing. And then November, beginning of November, just before I went back to work, I went to Basel. Never been to Switzerland before, to see Dr. Joe Dispenza. This was just a 3-day trip, but it was absolutely amazing. I'm still wearing the band. Yeah, I've been doing his meditations for a while now, and yeah, that's a story for another day, but that was amazing. And came back, went with my friends to the Harry Potter Studios. Also something I've been wanting to do for ages and ages and ages. That was amazing. You literally can spend the whole day. I think we went around lunchtime. Yeah, we went at lunchtime and we spent the rest of the day. I'm only a medium Harry Potter fan. I read the first 3 books and I watched all the movies. Definitely worth it. Food in the food court, not so good, but in November I started yoga. I started with yoga. And so years ago I tried it and I hated it, and I had this feeling I should try it again, and my feeling was right and I love it. And now every time I have the chance I go to yoga. I try to go to yoga once a week. I love it. I love it. Then going on to Christmas. One of my favorite times of the year. I just love Christmas. I love Christmas. So decorated the house for Christmas, went to the Q Christmas light show, which I seem to do every year. I just love it so much. It's so good. Beginning of December, we had the Christmas concert with the choir, which was very, very, very exciting. Such a beautiful venue. And then worked pretty much up until Christmas, and then over Christmas I was off. I mean, more or less I was off from like my main job, but then I did like a few jobs here and there. There's so much work going around for Christmas, so I felt like I couldn't really say no to all of it because I'm saving for a house. No, I'm not saving for a house, I'm saving for a flat. And I also fed 2 cats, which was so nice. Like the 2 cats I looked after, I'm gonna show you some pictures here. Such cuties. And I wore my Christmas jumper, which I'm gonna show you. And I spent Christmas with my partner and my lovely friends, and we had a lovely Christmas meal together, and we played some games together, and we didn't go to church, but we had such a lovely time. We had way more gifts than I ever expected, and I baked my first British Christmas cake and it turned out really nicely, and I sent really beautiful Christmas cards, and I dropped off cakes in the neighborhood, and I just love that. I just love the Christmas spirit, and that was my year. That was my year. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you made it to the end, please comment a Christmas tree emoji. And so let's just quickly pick 3 highlights of the year. Okay, definitely the Basel Dr. Joe event, the choir and the yoga. Well, that was kind of too easy. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Sending you lots of love. Bye!